This is a dream log for 7/24/2013. I just recalled a dream where I was the Buddha, and it's pretty amazing that there's a picture of me as the Buddha back there. Anyways, how the dream started off, I had thought during my dreaming of, hey, they should make a Buddhist movie, like a story about the Buddhist life, like a modern one. Not like the Keanu Reeves one, like just a movie just about him and his life and his journey, but make it very modern, kind of like sci-fi, and just like show his divinity and his aura. And as soon as I had that thought, I was transported into that movie. That's the best way I can explain it. Anyways, I was playing the Buddha. I was the Buddha in that movie. Or it wasn't a movie anymore. It was like I was in that life, and I was wearing all white. I have a white outfit that I wear, like a gi, like a karate gi. So I was wearing white pants and a white shirt, and I was in this very vivid and beautiful forest. It was so amazing, kind of like Avatar, just like a very lush, gigantic forest. Everything was oversized, everything was big, and it was so beautiful, and the sun was shining, and I was on the dirt path next to a riverbank, and on this riverbank were giant lilies, giant lily pads, and I felt like I could jump on them if I wanted to, and like go down the river. There was also a very cool leaf, like a giant leaf that had water inside of it, and it was like a boat, and it was going along, and it looked like it had sentience. It looked like somebody was steering that leaf, steering that boat. So it was very intriguing, and I was trying to follow it, and then it kind of sped up and went up ahead in front of me. So continuing further down this path, there was a palm on my left hand side, not a palm, just but a giant tree. And to my right, there was lush like vegetation, and I'm walking down this dirt path, and I come up to like a spider web, a big one, that I could see it, just like if you're walking down a trail, there's spider webs, and I would see it, and I would move to the right a little bit, walk across it, then I would walk, and there'd be one on the right, and I'd move and move underneath it and keep going. And as I'm walking down this path and kind of dodging the spider webs, they start to get more intensified, and I get to this river, like this little, looked like a bridge, or just the path kind of opened up a little bit more wider, but there was a lot more spiders there. So it started off with first I ducked underneath one spider web, and then I kind of did this routine of moving around, and then I got to this point where there was a lot of spider webs up ahead, like a lot, and I thought I could make it first, so I ducked underneath the first one, and it was kind of like a bridge of spider webs over my head, and I'm moving underneath them, and I get to the point where it's just too much, and there's too many spider webs in front of me, and I can't make any moves. So I back up slowly again, checking. I remember checking above to see if I was gonna hit my head on top of one, and I backed up all the way, and then I stood up. And as I stood up, I realized that all around me there were spider webs, and I couldn't really make a move except to go back all the way back from where I started from. And that didn't feel like the right thing to do. I felt like I had to keep going along because I felt like I wanted to go see that leaf on the boat. So I'm sitting there, and then I got very disoriented. Like maybe I got bit by one of the spiders or something. Like I felt really dizzy because maybe I stood up too fast, and then I was like, I felt like I was slipping, like I was gonna slip into one of the spider webs, and then all of a sudden I slowed down, and then it started pouring rain, like pouring rain, so beautifully all over, and the rain fell so hard, and it just kind of washed all the spiders away, and I knew that the spiders weren't being killed. Like I knew the spiders were going to be fine because it's a natural process and it happens to them. But they were just being like swept off the bridge, and I could walk freely, and I could see the spiders being moved along. And something told me in my mind that, hey, like this is what you have to do. You just have to be patient. And, like see, it was such like a realization of like, oh, now if I just breathe and wait, like this rain will fall on me and just kind of ease my worries and ease my troubles, and then I could walk freely on this beautiful bridge and just keep moving forward. And I had the thought of like lush vegetation. There was was like buildings to my right. Like I remember if I continued down this path, there was gonna be buildings, like nice modern buildings, like I was in Thailand or something. And then I was gonna go like set up camp in one of those buildings and like maybe live there, set up a monastery there or something. But it was so beautiful, so vivid. And now I'm starting to recall the last dream I just had before I woke up. The Green Goblin was there. Yeah, okay. It was the Green Goblin. It was William Dafoe playing the Green Goblin. And also, okay, I know this is kind of scattered. Okay, so towards the very end of that dream, it was William Dafoe, and he was having a realization that he was the Green Goblin. And before that, they were calling him something else, the Peter Piper or something. I don't know. But I was there with my brother-in-law, and I was sifting through this bag of like gold, and it had rocks. I was like getting all this money from this thing, and I was putting it in this bag, and then I would put it underneath water to sift it, and then like William Dafoe was like, there was like lava flowing there or something. I don't know. And like William Dafoe was starting to like turn into the Green Goblin, so I was like, dude, we gotta get out of here because he's about to like lose his mind. So that was kind of strange. But before that, Ronald Reagan. I was in a giant auditorium with Ronald Reagan and like all of my student government, and we were watching this film. Maybe we were watching the Buddha film. No, no, I'm starting to recall now. We were watching this amazing. Okay. This is what happened. We were playing a game, like a strategy game, and it had to do with the Earth. And there was a young man in the middle controlling like all the resources and all the development and all that stuff, and he was using like the military and just like all these resources, but he can control like a world on the tip of his fingers through like a computer program. It all felt like a simulation, it wasn't real. And we were all watching this like program, like it was a team of people unfolding, and some of the teammates had made mistakes or something, and they had screwed it up, and they had like destroyed everything. Like I feel like somebody did an attack against them, and they wiped everything out. Like in the it was like in America. America was the focal point. Like in the center of America, there was a pyramid, and there was like all this development around it. And so there was all this development going on around the pyramid, and somebody had like hacked the program or something and destroyed everything, took everything away, and the team that was like operating it like couldn't control it, like they couldn't counteract like all the destruction that was happening. They couldn't fix it fast enough, and like everybody in the crowd was laughing like, oh ha ha, they're gonna fail this program. And then this one young man like stepped behind the program, and he was like an orchestrator. He was like phenom, and he reconstructed everything so fast. He was like fixing everything. Like on the map, you could see like America was like a desert. You know, it was like you could see the greenery in the desert, and like everything was desert. And then he put the pyramid back in the middle, and then like he brought the army to like fix everything. Like you could see like little figures of the army or like representations of like trucks and like just all this manufacturing going on so quickly. And since he was rebuilding them, like I shouted out loud, I was like, "Oh, put Disney World in there, put Disney World in there," and he did. He put it like in the bottom right hand corner, and you could see it was like a movie theater, and it was this giant screen, and he's like fixing everything, and he put the pyramid back in, and he was putting like all these amazing relics and like all these amazing animals. Like the kid was very focused on animals, and like he would put the animals back in certain spots, and then they would show like a highlight clip of like, oh, this is the platypus and all this stuff, and like he was just like fixing all this stuff like so amazingly. And then like he was done, and like everybody clapped. Like I remember we were all clapping, and like he did an amazing job, like fixing America, like fixing the earth. And then afterwards, there was a young man to my left. His name was Timmy or something. And he like jumped over the railing, and then people were freaking out, like, "Timmy, get back in your seat," or whatever. And then Reagan and his wife were there. Ronald Reagan and his wife were there. And I remember I was just staring at him. I was just like staring at Reagan. and then somebody asked a question. Like I remember, like think about the Bilderberg groups and stuff, and like how corrupt Reagan is, and like where does all this money come from? And then Reagan was like, "You see, kids," he's like, "this is what we do with the money that's given to us. Like all these people that have jobs and need jobs, like this is where the money goes, and this is how we give it to them." And he's like, "This is why we brought you here today, to make this plea, to ask this family for more money, because people need jobs, so we're gonna give them this money for their jobs and all this stuff." And like somebody had asked a question about this, so this is why he was giving a speech. And then he was like, "Oh, back in my day," and then his wife stood up, and they were like, "No more questions, no more questions for him." And it felt very strange that they weren't. They were saying like he didn't have enough time to answer questions, so his wife like stopped him and hugged him. It felt very strange. And then Frank Yurkovich, which he's been in my dreams recently, it was like a student government trip, and Frank Yurkovich from St. Petersburg College, he was like, "All right, everybody, no more questions." He's like, "Thank him for coming," and then he had a bunch of popcorn boxes, like the pirate popcorns from Publix, and he was handing them out, and he was handing out like cheddar cheese ones or chicken flavored ones, and he's like, "We don't have real food, but we'll give you this before we leave." So he was handing those out, and yeah, that was it. I was thinking that I wanted to try the chicken flavored one, but I knew I was gonna go for cheddar. And Kenyon Jordan was there. All these amazing people were there. That was it. And then I woke up dehydrated and ready to start the day. Gonna go to the gym now. One love.